Today we're going to make a classic, the Tom Collins. For this drink, you're going to need a Collins glass, a measuring cup, a measuring spoon, a bar spoon, a mixing glass, a fancy straw, a citrus juicer, and a cutting board and a small knife. This drink uses Old Tom gin, freshly squeezed lemon juice, soda water, and granulated sugar, or optionally, simple syrup. The movies would have you believe that James Bond only ever drank vodka in a martini glass. Shaken, not stirred, of course. And while he did do that in the books, he also drank so much more. And while various whiskeys would probably top his list of favorite spirits, in cocktails he drank his fair share of gin. The most famous type of gin is London Dry gin. It's usually what recipes are referring to when they call for gin. However, in the mid-1800s, if you saw gin in a recipe, it was most likely referring to Genever, which is considered the grandfather of London Dry gin. The reason it's the grandfather and not the father is because there was an intermediary step on the evolutionary ladder, Old Tom gin. Old Tom was the sweeter precursor to the drier, more assertive London Dry. If you don't have an Old Tom gin, you can just make the drink with a London Dry. But it's made better with an Old Tom. In England, in the mid-1800s, the Genever version of this drink, known as the John Collins, was being served as a morning drink, or a hair of the dog drink. Something to start off your day. But sometime around the 1870s across the pond in America, the base spirit of the John Collins was hijacked by a newer style of gin. That gin was, of course, Old Tom gin. By swapping out the Genever for Old Tom, this drink helped the newer style of gin gain a foothold in America. The John Collins was forgotten, and the Tom Collins thrived. This type of spirit swapping was done again at a staggering scale in the late 20th century with vodka. Vodka ended up usurping most drinks that once called for gin as the base spirit, which gave birth to the vodka gimlet, vodka tonic, and most famously the kangaroo kicker, which was rebranded as the vodka martini. And James Bond, of course, played a big role in this coup. In the books, Bond never drank a Tom Collins on screen, so to speak. However, while crawling through a swamp in The Man with the Golden Gun, he envisioned one as part of a sort of mirage. He pictured a Jamaican banquet of suckling pig being served with an array of drinks, including champagne, whiskey sours, rum punches, and of course Tom Collins. Bond saw this feast in a fever dream of nervous exhaustion after being wounded in battle. This vision was his version of Shangri-La, and it's what helped keep him going. Before I get started, I like to cut, squeeze, strain, and bottle my lemon juice. That way it's easier to pour when it comes time to measure. We'll start by chilling our glass, fill it with ice and water, and set it aside. Next we're going to measure 2 ounces of Old Tom gin, add that to the mixing glass, measure an ounce of lemon juice, add that to the mixing glass, measure a teaspoon of sugar, add that to the mixing glass, or optionally, you can measure a teaspoon of simple syrup and add that to the mixing glass. And then we're going to stir this one up until the sugar is dissolved. This will take a minute because the sugar won't want to dissolve right away. You could just use a teaspoon of simple syrup instead. That way it won't take quite as long. Dump the ice and water from your Collins glass, drop in some large hunks of ice, and pour the contents of your mixing glass into your chilled Collins glass. Top it off with soda water. Then cut a lemon wedge and give it a little notch on one side. Place the lemon wedge on your drink for garnish and pop in your fancy straw. And that's all there is to it. A drink worth fantasizing about. The Tom Collins. Cheers. Click here for more videos. Be sure to subscribe and check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.